Good evening all, and welcome to the Rangers Rabble podcast. Scotty's froze. No, you've not. You froze there, Scotty. Welcome to the Rangers Rabble podcast. We have just witnessed Braga 1, Rangers 0. Europa League quarter final. Not many can say that. And tonight I am joined by Mark. Big man, how we doing?
I'm all right. I'll just give you I'm all right.
That's fine. I wasn't wanting you to tell me anything else. I didn't ask you anything else. Scotty, still need wallpapers on the walls?
Wallpaper?
Still holed up in my crack pen.
Is the wallpaper dear down there?
You better believe it.
Same price as diesel.
May as well just paper it with 50s. Do you know what I mean? And again, Kerr, the only man in Glasgow with a couch in his toilet. Kerr, how you doing?
I'm on the toilet. I'm in the spare room, as usual.
You offshore, mate, again?
Aye.
Making a big bucks, eh?
Somebody's got to keep moving.
It's his fault with the diesel and petrol prices.
Right.
Nice for that motor of his, by the way. That'll be guzzling.
I tell you what, JD, you know you're in bad shape with a man who's offshore's got a better decor than yourself.
Means it's free, mate. It's free.
Let's bring it back.
Taxpayers pay for his.
Listen, before anyone starts slagging the fact that I've got no wallpaper, I do work for a living, and I spent last weekend up in Glasgow, so you can fuck off. Yeah. Maybe this weekend I'll get round to it.
In the city is where he lives. Oh, lovely. Somebody's been nice to us tonight. Right.
Where do you start, JD? Where do we start?
But let's just quickly go in here. I want to say hello to everybody, but lads at Paldo 777, thank you so much for the contribution to the podcast. Got his mate 2 seconds tonight. They gave him money, feels like he needs a refund. It's just hard. I think there's still a lot of pain surrounding Sunday, and that's where I'm struggling just now. If anybody knows me on Twitter, don't go to my Twitter because I don't want to speak to MD. I don't like MD. Don't want to talk to MD. I hate everybody here. Don't like Rangers. Don't want to be their friend tonight. It's Sunday. But I'll text all yous. We are. I'm going to chat about the game. Let me just have a say hello to whoever's on.
I'd rather sit here and have you slag my wallpaper for an hour than actually talk about that game.
Yeah, well,
don't mind.
Good evening, Maz. By the way, the comments are flying in. I mean, we're pretty heavy with people live, so I'm actually Maz is saying evening, and Maz is saying dire. Let's just chat about the game. There's so many comments. CGM, Nicholas, I see you all, man. Good evening to everybody, and hello, Kerr. Late substitution. Kerr's. I was going to call Kerr the Aaron Ramsey of the pod there, but Aaron Ramsey doesn't even make an appearance, so Kerr's a late substitution coming on. So Kerr, what's your thoughts on the starting lineup tonight? We've seen Aribo, Ramsey and Roof drop out for Kamara, Arfield and Sakala. I think there's a pretty surprising with you. Surprised at that?
No, really, no. I thought he would make changes. In the bonus way, when you looked at the start lineup, you thought, well, if he plays the correct formation, it might work, but he went with his usual, and I don't know. We started quite well with a couple of chances. Kent had one. Should maybe done better way, and then the ball fell to Sakala, but Rayman plays with a smile, but doesn't really play much else, and he tries, but sometimes that isn't enough, especially at this level. I just thought after kind of first 10-15 minutes they came into it, and we lost the middle of the park. Middle of the park wasn't great, the defence wasn't great, and
I need to bring
it just went back to worse.
Sorry, my wee pals jumped on here. Oh, it's my laptop's not working. Our boy Aldo.
Oh, so he remembered we've got a second leg now. Fuck me.
He's looking ahead to the future. Nostradamus says Aldo.
We're going to call Aldo out here, Scotty, aren't we? Because Aldo had gave up after 35 minutes. Forget it. We're only worried now about the Old Firm semi-final. Think about the semi-final. We were saying
one game left.
There's next Thursday to go. Nah, done. And there he is. He's wee ha there. Scotty, what do you want to say to him about that?
Shame on you. Hang your head in shame. Resign yourself. You bring back the public floggings for this kind of stuff.
Kamara, Arfield and Sakala, were you surprised with any of those introductions to the starting lineup? I
wasn't surprised, but my first thought was, where's the creativity coming from? That was
7 million Ryan Kent.
Has he been doing it? Has he been creating? It looks good. It does a wee step over, but has he been doing anything? Final ball, scoring goals.
Has anybody run an
I've seen Scott Kerr liking a lot of posts today on Twitter that Ryan Kent is this fabulous player. It's just doubled up on Scott Kerr. Why batter in here?
Why you're picking on a guy who is probably a main outlet? He gets doubled up, which is correct. But when he gets the ball, there's no mover, there's nothing after him.
I tell you what happens. The ball gets fired out to Ryan Kent, and he's got bloody nothing. He's isolated, so he takes on a man. He gets past a man, and then he lays it off. That's all he can do.
Does he get past a man?
Yes, he does. Yes, he bloody does. The amount of times that this happens, and he's hung out to dry continuously, and it's like, oh, there's no creativity from him. There's no assist. There's no numbers. Well, he's fucking isolated and stuck out on the wing all the time. When he does try and come in, fuck knows, no one's making a run off the ball to create some space. He's the only guy that does actually some creative running thinking. The only other guy that's capable of doing that was sat on the fucking bench.
Please, I'm here to play devil's advocate.
No, you're not.
So, let me play devil's advocate on that, Mark, and come back to you. Ryan Kent is... Are we getting to a stage now with certain players where it's like... It's not... Well, Scott can answer this. Why can't we criticise Ryan Kent? Because... okay, I'm going to come back to Mark on that, because what the question I did want to ask was, are we just holding on to this Dortmund performance? Because for me, that's what I'm holding on to with Ryan Kent.
Look, Ryan, the problem with Ryan Kent, right, I think he's a smashing player. I really, really do. And it pains me to say anything bad about any other players. But Ryan Kent was playing against the same teams, the same defences, the same low block last year as he is this year. Now, I don't care what anybody says. As I said, I think he's a smashing player. But he done it last season against the same players. He's not doing it this season. As I said, it pains me to say it, but
that's absolutely fine. That's an absolutely brilliant observation. But it's the guys around him who are also playing in the same opposition, the same team, the same thing, who are definitely not stepping up. You like say Glenn Kamara. He lost the ball more times tonight than he did in the entirety of last season.
Yeah.
Joe Rizzo, exactly the same. And you're saying, right, okay, well, Ryan, I see the same level of output in Ryan Kent, the same determination. He was still going at 90 minutes, still taking people on, still trying to do something. His numbers aren't there, but let's face it, Roof's finishing has just been piss. Sakala can't finish to fucking save his life.
Right.
What's coming in off the right? Absolutely nothing. So in order to get numbers, the other guys have to pitch in and actually score the goals.
Yeah. No, listen.
Let me come back then.
Yes,
so,
Mark.
What I'm saying is, I'm not singling out Ryan Kent. We'll start talking about Ryan Kent because his name was mentioned.
I singled him out.
No. Yeah. The whole team is not been at it this year. Let's not kid anybody on. They've just not been at it. Simple as that. I don't know whether it's we spoke about it just before we come on, a mentality thing. It pained me to say it, but I think it is a mentality thing.
Right.
I think that there's definitely lack of desire. I don't think it's lack of effort. I think they're trying. But it's a lack of desire, and I think sometimes a lack of concentration. Because see if a professional footballer, right, can he pass a ball 5 yards or 10 yards to another player without knocking it a yard to one side of him or a yard to the other side of him. That's a lack of concentration, because I'll tell you what, see if he concentrates, he'll get that ball straight there all the time, every time, 10 times out of 10, because these boys have got talent. So for me, it's a lack of concentration. There's definitely a lack of heart there. I don't care what anybody says. But as I said, I'm no signalling out Ryan Kent. All of them, numbers-wise, I would say the only person that's had pass marks in the last probably months, Big Shirley. Lundstrom, yeah. I'll put him in there as well. But apart from the two, you're struggling. We're struggling.
Listen, sorry, Mark, can I just jump in? Because we've went away. I'd made notes and everything tonight to do stuff, right? We've just went, right? So we'll just go. Let's just have a mad blather about it. There's plenty of comments, and I'm really sorry to the folk if I can't get your comments. But regulars are there. I'm just can't see it. It's gone too fast. Kerr, I want to put this one up for Davey. Something we've spoke about. Is there a lack of leadership on the park, firstly, on the sideline, secondly?
Both, I agree with you, aye, but we just always kind of look at a captain. There has to be 11 leaders in that part, and there's no. I mean, there's a different argument saying it's to have a captain, there's no a captain. That's a different debate, but I agree there's a lack of leadership in the part, because you see it more for Golson being a leader than you do for Tav at times, and Lundstrom does open his mouth. And I still say this, Dave, maybe did disagree with me, but I think we missed Stephen Davis in the park, because he played like a leader. And I know people say he's finished, people say that, but my problem is the same players are weak, who only pulling in a performances. And Ryan Kent's not been great, but I would still play him because he does a lot of work off the ball as well as on it. You see tonight covering for Bassi a few times coming back. On the other side, that doesn't happen. But I just think some players are still playing in maybe previous games performances. Aribo being one of them. Kamara's not been at the races. Ryan Jack's not even that great in the last couple of games, but you maybe have to keep playing him through, to be fair. Lundstrom's done okay, but I prefer him deeper. But I just think we need something different. And Gio's problem is for me is he doesn't change it. We look more comfortable in a 3 at the back than we do when playing a 4. And I think it's because the defenders we've got aren't good enough.
Yeah. The comments, man, I should have slowed them down. Someone said there, right, and I want to come back to it. Mark, I'll come to you. No, in fact, I'm going to let Scotty say, but I know what Scotty's going to say. Aaron Ramsey plays, 60 minutes on Sunday, scores a great goal, gets whipped off. We argue he was fucked, he wasn't fucked. I think he was, you maybe think he wasn't. He's not even made the park today. If Aaron Ramsey's not fit enough to get on, one, is he injured? What's he on the bench for? And then 2, or is he just not good enough?
Like, it's definitely that he's not good enough. I mean, how many times this season?
What have we seen of Aaron Ramsey for you to think he's this great player? I think he's a Jack Wilshere now.
I mean, I don't. I think his positional ability, his awareness to pick up spaces, his awareness to run into the spaces, his timing of the run, his ability to be where he needs to be, despite you saying, right, okay, we perhaps doesn't have electric pace, but he never had electric pace. His reading of the game is still tremendous. Why wasn't he playing? I don't know. How many times have we sat here and we've questioned Gio's team selection? I think on Sunday and tonight, there's a fair argument for the team selection. But the exclusion of Ramsey was a head scratcher, even if he's just playing for 60 minutes. That 60 minutes that he played on Sunday, he was the best player in the park. I don't care what you say, JD. He might have run out of steam, but he was. If you look back at all the good patterns of play that we were involved in on Sunday, he was involved in every single one of them. So why he was not playing tonight, I don't know. What is he resting in for St. Mirren? It's fucking bizarre. The fact that he didn't come on, right? Okay, well, we've got 2 players here that apparently pushed the boat out from ridiculously big teams to get in. We've got Diallo and Ramsey, and they're not even getting a look in. What is going on? What are you pointing at?
I'm trying to I want to bring him in on that point.
But when you're looking at it and you're seeing the changes that are made, you can tell, right? We learned from Sunday, Ruth can't play up by himself. I don't think he can play full stop. we also know from past experience, Sakala can't play. When we ended up playing, and I don't think it's anything to do with 3 at the back, I think it's more to do with the 2 up top. They struggle to cope with the 2 up top. They struggle to bring the ball out of defence with the 2 up top. And we only learned that in the last 10 minutes, but apparently we spend all our time doing our homework on this team. And we know for a fact that we can't play with 1 up top. It's not fucking rocket science sometimes. It's like we're shouting from the sideline and say, stick it in the mixer. Just a bit of fucking common sense.
Kerr, let's bring it into the Ramsey Diallo. I've made my thoughts clear on there. Listen, I know Aaron Ramsey's a great player. Everybody's saying he's class. I don't understand the loving. I think we want this guy to succeed so much because he's a world-class player. I don't think Aaron Ramsey was ever world-class, but anyway, a fabulous footballer to work at our club, and it's no worked. It's no worked. Sometimes we need to just go back to Aaron Ramsey. Were you fit enough? Were you honest enough with yourself? Because it doesn't look like that. Gio works with these guys every day. Whether we like Gio or not, I'm not too keen. But he sees them. So if Aaron Ramsey is as good as Scotty, everybody out in the comments, everybody says, why is he not playing?
It could be that it could be maybe you're right, maybe he isn't fit, but if he isn't fit, then why he's on the bench? But also, is Gio's man to bring in the first place? Was it a statement by Ross Wilson to bring in Ramsey and Diallo to say, I brought 2 players, one for Man United, one for Juventus? That's a big statement from me, a big statement from Rangers. Diallo was never good enough because he's a young kid still learning, and we've got guys like Alec Lowry who could come in and fill that position before bringing in somebody like Diallo. Ramsey, to me, against Celtic, I agree with Scott. You've seen it. He can find position, other players can't. He likes to play between the lines. Just see he's late on into the box. We scored and he nearly done it again after that. But his link-up play was really good and he was tracking back. As he get the legs, we don't know. But I'll tell you, if he was available at the end of the season, we could get him to sign for next season, I would take him in a heartbeat.
Whoa, can I get bold? Yeah, that's bold. I just want to jump on Teddy's comment. I'd said earlier, I fell out with everybody, just so you know. I don't want to speak to anybody about Rangers, and I'm having to come on here and speak to you about it. So I don't like any Rangers players. I don't like any of the coaching staff. I love Ali McCoy. He's the only one I love because he scored over 350 goals for us. He's our greatest ever player, in my opinion. Anyway, Mark, sorry I jumped in there. What are you going to say?
So, the bigger picture. We brought in Aaron Ramsey and we brought in the boy from Man United. Now, at the time, we're all over the moon, right? But these are risks. And do you know what? The risk was worth taking. It's not worked out. Obviously, it's not worked out, especially for the boy Diallo. Definitely not worked out. Ramsey, you can see Ramsey's a player. And I think that Ramsey is no fit. It's as simple as that. And let's face it, when we brought him in, we knew he wasn't fit. And that was the risk we took. We hoped that we could get him up to speed quicker than we did, or quicker than we have. And I think that he never played the day, never started the day, because I think that he can't play 2 games in a week. It's as simple as that. And I don't think that, I mean, that should have been a question that was asked.
But I think we've had 1 game yet.
But that's what I'm saying. So the question should have been asked, is he fit? And the answer's probably come back, well, he's no fit, but he can get fit. But now that he's in the door, we can see the fact that he's maybe not as fit as we get told he was fit when he took him. And he's obviously not capable of playing 2 games in a week. So, as I said, it was a risk bringing him in. But I think that hindsight's a wonderful thing. We can all sit here and go, he's this, he's that, he's been rotten, he's done this, he's done that. But they've not brought him in just for the sake of bringing him in. They brought him in because they thought he could do a turn for us. Same as the boy Diallo. So, they brought him in for a reason. Obviously, they've no worked, but look, they're never always all going to work. And I think probably because we're all still hurting. I mean, I didn't even want to talk in the chat for the last since Sunday.
Thank fuck we were all saying.
I wish you stopped now as well.
So can I just jump in, Mark? This is another. Ian Ross is saying that, channel member. Hi, Ian. There's a wee bit of me, right? I'm not saying this tongue in cheek to annoy folk because I'm disappointed by Aaron Ramsey. So what I've said about him, I still believe that. But there's a wee part of me thinking, maybe get took off on Sunday and, he would play. I'm expecting him to come in and fully play. But he's on the bench, so he can't be injured.
Well,
So
according to the comments here, and I've just read as well, Van Bronckhorst said he was fit tonight, he just didn't come on.
I don't understand it. If he's this great a player, you have all seen it. I've not seen it.
Listen, JD, stop trying to insinuate that Gio knows something that we fucking don't. Because as far as you're concerned, hold the fuck on. You cannot turn around and say that you haven't got your trust in Gio. You're not sure if he's the right man for the job, but implicitly trust his decision not to play Ramsey. You can't have it both ways. Either you stick to no, absolutely fucking not. Because no, it doesn't work like that, and I'm not having it. Everyone is perplexed at the fact that Ramsey didn't play at all tonight. Everyone is perplexed. Losing 1-0, we've got Arfield who played 90 minutes. Fuck knows how. I forgot that Kamara was even playing until about the 75th minute and he got tackled. And you're telling me that Aaron Ramsey is any worse?
Well, thankfully you went almost silent there at the end, Scotty, so we never heard the end of your point. We'll take it as you finished, which is good.
Which is always good.
Okay, let's drag us back into the game. Let's try and talk about the match. Braga score. It's chopped off for a bad tackle on Ryan Jack. I'm going to be pure negative here again, but I want to talk about the fact that we couldn't clear that with the 4 or 5 chances we had. What's happening with defence right now, Kerr?
They look very nervous, don't they? They don't. It's like they're taking 2, 3, 4 chances to clear the ball and they can't. Nervous as anything. There's nothing there. But it's not just the defenders; it's the players in front as well. Look at midfield. You defend for the front, and even when we get out, it was coming straight back. Kamara was losing it. Sakala was losing it. Kent was losing it. They were all losing it after having a touch or two, and it was coming straight back. So you have to defend for the front. We just didn't have any consistency at all. We were too complacent tonight. We didn't really have anybody, apart from after the first 50 minutes, till half time, we were just backs against the wall, weren't it? It was all a matter of time before Braga scored. They won disallowed, but the one they scored, I mean, with a cut of chance to clear that, Bassey didn't go to his man, so Kent didn't know, should they follow him, should they know? The two of them are looking at each other, and the guy goes through the middle, puts not even a great ball into the box, and Balogun kicks fresh air, and it comes through, and the boy scores. So, no, it's just, you've got to look at the players, but you've got to look at everything, and I think, to be honest with you, if we don't go through next week and then the semi-final, if that doesn't happen, the season's a write-off, and I think we'll need to start looking for next season. But all I'll say is, everybody expects there'll be massive changes next year. I don't know where the money's coming from for that, I have to say. There's going to be
sell players. Do we not sell players, Kerr?
We do, but the players people are talking about bringing in, you've got to get their wages as well. I don't see us bringing any more than 6 players in. If I'm being honest.
Anyway, we're going to get to that. Let's get through the game first. I think there's a bit of chat to be had for the last 15-20 minutes on. The likes of Gio, Ross Wilson here, I think we may as well harness it. There's over 770 people watching, so thanks everybody for watching. It's been a bit of a tough gig the last couple of times, but you know what? Just say thanks to Perry, man. Cheers, mate. Mark, back to you. Kerr's just touched on the goal then. The original one gets chopped off. The goal that's scored by Braga, the boy Ruiz, the Spanish boy, it's a cracking finish.
Great finish.
Bassey, out of shape. Balogun makes a total ass of it. And Goldson, very hesitant to dive in or jockey. He kind of gets caught. Boom, 1-0, we're down.
It's the kind of goals we've been losing all the time. It's almost like the Keystone Cops at the back. It's any time we get a corner against us or somebody makes a decent run towards your goal, it's as if panic sets in. And don't get me wrong, boy, great goal, great finish, but we had 2, maybe 3 chances to stop that attack, and we never done it. I mean, I don't even know what Balogun was doing. He kind of kicked it fresh air. It wasn't even close to the ball. It's as if we're spinning and turning and trying to go for the ball with our wrong foot, and it's a torture to watch. Absolute torture to watch.
I think Scott mentioned it earlier. We were talking about Balogun, and because he's right-footed playing on the left side, he can, time he adjusts, he struggles. That's how when you play a back three with Lundstram next to him, if he does make a mistake, somebody's right next to him. Whereas Golson's going to be a bit of distance away, because the centre backs, they can't be too far apart, they can't be too close together either. So I think you have to play Balogun in a back three. I don't play him at all. Personally, I would put Bassey back there, because I think he's a better player in centre back than Balogun, and I bring back in Borna. I wouldn't keep playing Balogun. I think he's a bomb scare, to be honest.
Okay, let me just touch on that, because I know that you have been keen on Borna, to be fair, and I've been, a lot of us have lost faith in him. However, I know what you're saying when he came on. Now, he did lose the ball the odd time, but there's a balance that's created when he comes on.
Because he's left-footed, JD, innit? Him there and even Bassey next to him, like we said earlier, there's two left-footed players on the left-hand side. So you've got a better balance here, where you're sticking somebody with a right foot there. They struggle. They have to take a touch to get the ball, to kick it with the right foot, and that gives oppositions time to pressure you, time to close you down. Whereas if you're left-footed, if you need to get it away quickly, you can. I just like when the balance is better for Rangers. It's simple things to me. I don't look at football hard. I just look at keeping it simple, and sometimes I think we look, the manager and the coach and staff look at it too much.
Scotty, let's bring you back in. Time to cool down. I verbally won that battle last time, so I'll bring you back in for round 2 if you wish. I'm going to talk about Sakala. So we said that earlier, Scotty. We love him. He's got a wee smile on his face, but that
fuck off! I couldn't give a shit.
Exactly, that only takes us so far.
I'm happy, and people still think I'm a knob.
Yeah, true. What we said is, Gio set out his team, and we thought he was maybe going to go 3-5-2 and all that. People were wishing for it. It didn't happen, right? Gio's got plan A. He's wearing that Warburton's hat, and he didn't change it. So we played the same formation, the same thing, and Sakala was isolated. He's back to the defence like Roof was against Celtic, but this folk might not like this, but I thought McCoy's made a really good comment about, like, use his Arsenal, what he's got in him. So he's no good to feet. So make your run, spin round, go. Think it's no hard. This is boys' club football stuff. Before you speak about Sakala, why are we not doing this in the training ground? And then is this not what Roy Mackay's, this great striker, was going to teach us out how to fucking score goals? Be a better striker.
I can't answer that. I'm not on the training ground, but he's absolutely spot on. It frustrates me because we talk about Sakala having this great pace. He doesn't know how to use it. He doesn't know how to use it on the ball or off the ball, and so there's no point in him having it. And he's the easiest centre forward to play against. That defender was turning like a cart horse. After the first couple of times that happened to him, he had the measure of him. It shouldn't be that easy. There was an instance in the first half, and I noticed Sakala had the run on him, right? And the centre-back has come across and he's taken the ball out. What should be happening is Sakala should actually be able to take that ball on his stride, with his left foot, and just nip it past him. He's either away or he's taken out by a defender, and that's a booking, whether the ref books him or not. But in respect of one thing I will say, having him come deep was better than not having Roof come deep. Because Roof doesn't come deep, he doesn't go in behind. So having him do that was at least some form of outball. But when you've got pace, why are you not just constantly trying to get in behind? Get the defenders turning. Why are you not? I don't understand either the instruction from the bench, which isn't happening, or why instinctively he's not trying to do that. Apart from the times when we were springing out from the back from defence and the ball was played into the channel, that is the only time that we really saw Sakala actually run at someone, which is really disappointing.
Sakala, he's getting a lot. If you look at
and technically he's crap. I don't care what anyone says.
Listen, technically he isn't great, but he struggled. I felt so. I don't know why I feel sorry for him, because he's maybe got a gap in his teeth like me, and I feel sorry for folk like that. But I don't know. He's not a striker, is he?
He's not good enough for Rangers. End of story. There's not a lot to say about him. He's probably infectious personality-wise, because he comes across as a really nice guy, and he's willing to working hard, but he's not good enough. Simple. He's not good enough. There's nothing else to say about him. He's just not good enough.
And that's it. Let me just bring up a couple of comments. This is some. Oh fuck! Look at me pulling that up, right? Idiot. Anyway, sorry. But listen, the worst thing about that is I actually agree, Mark, that Ryan Jack probably of the last couple of games, he's not came on to what we were hoping.
No, we know what he brings to a side, but I think the rest of the team has just brought him down to their level. I really do.
But then, why would you say that about Ryan Jack? Then you're not saying it about somebody else. So why is it okay for Ryan Jack to have, because we brought his level down? Listen, we barely see Ryan Jack to have this.
No. But Ryan Jack, I mean, to be fair, they're all at that level. They're all been brought down to that level. I'm not just, as I said, I'm not just singling people out. I'm very much a glass half full, and I can't do anymore. Simple as that. I'm just sick, fed up.
Put the glass out of your head.
Aye.
That's the second game Ryan Jack's been subbed. Scotty.
Say again?
Concerns that Ryan Jack will not be here next season. Is that a concern to you?
No, I was going to say, is that really a concern? No, I think we've got a lot of good players, but I don't think we've got what we want is great players. We want Rangers great players, don't we? We want someone that, you just don't see it. Yeah, good, fantastic servant, great person to have in the squad. Really great person to have in the squad if he stays fit and available all the time. But I think we've always said it since we signed him. We should be looking at a level above. And maybe that's just my expectation of what I want from Rangers. And I'll probably say it about Glenn Kamara as well. I think you need to be adding more to your game, like in terms of goals from midfield. Your central midfielders should be able to contribute 8 to 10 goals. Either 15 goals between them or something. But, just numbers or influences somewhere. And we don't really seem to get that from our midfielders. So I think there's a level where we can step up. Where it comes from, thankfully, that's not my job.
Okay, Kerr, Ross Clark was coming on and he'd been texting me, and we've been critical of McGregor, and when he's asking the question, it was a great finish by Ruiz.
Yep.
I'm going to admit, when I watched it, I thought it was a great finish, but when I seen a couple of replays, I was thinking what he's thinking. I thought, I don't know if should McGregor be. He throws a hand. I don't know. What do you think?
Listen, now McGregor's finished. We know this is his last season, and we know he's never going to. He can pull out saves now again, but he's not the goalkeeper he was, and he probably should have retired last season. So he maybe could have saved it. I don't know. It was right in the corner, to be fair, but he might have done better. But I just like to say the Rangers team at the moment, we don't have any shape. The players basically don't know their jobs. They're all over the place. We're a team where we should be playing in a system that players know, and each player should know their own jobs, but they don't know what they're doing. 1 minute they're out wide, 1 minute in the middle, 1 minute on the other side. Like Aribo come on, he didn't have a clue what he was doing. Eventually just started walking again. So that must come from the manager. The manager has to go to training and set him out with a plan of action. We don't seem to have that, and that's why I'll go in my last point and say the boy Knutson for not. I can't remember if that's his name, Knutson for Bodo Glimt. He should have been our manager. It should never have been Gio. But as usual, Gio got it. Just for the reason as he's an ex-Rangers man. Didn't he play for Rangers when he been the manager?
That's because he's a free agent.
Yeah. Well,
as well,
listen,
money,
let's get to a couple of little things on the game, and then let's spend 20 minutes, if you don't mind, Trips, talking about Gio and Ross Wilson, just talk about the future. I think we've got a lot to say on that, and everyone in the comments are wanting us to speak about that. But one man, Stephen Davis, been an absolute servant for the club. Listen, seeing the start of the season, he played a few good, cracking games. He came back since Gio's come in. From what we're led to believe, he's been told he's not wanted. We'd also heard Kamara similar to that. But Mark, what's your thoughts on the way it's ending for Steve Davis?
I think it's sad. I think he's been a great servant. I think he's a smashing player. I think that at the point where we're at and the way we're playing, I think that you probably need somebody that can bring a bit of calmness to the side, and can knock the ball about. I mean, I know I've not been critical, but I've said my piece about what I think and the reason why he's not in the squad. But I mean, tonight I thought European games, I think is perfect for a European game because it can split a defence with a pass. He's got a great range of passing and he can control a tempo of a game. And sometimes you need to do that in Europe. And I don't think that anybody on the side the last month's been able to do anything like that. So I'm baffled. If you've got him, use him.
See, I think
does he fit what you try and do?
I just think Mark is telling us what he could do, not what he can do. I don't think he's capable anymore. I think that's the whole point.
But then, Mark, you've said that for the last.
I've said many times. Yeah, I've said that.
Same as McGregor.
I don't think he's got the legs to play in the formation that Gio plays.
Oh fuck! Fuck knows. Do you want to talk about formations in Gio? Fuck me. I've never seen a. This is the most disorganised Rangers team we've seen in what since fucking we finished the season with Murty.
My ears are burning because I've done some blocking on this chat.
Murty, who was it? Jimmy Nicholl in that fucking 5-5 game.
Both of them, every of them. Let's just last wee bit of the game. 9 minutes. Kerr, does it annoy you that we start to play with a bit of tempo and a bit of press and a bit of push and a bit of pace and we look actually okay for those last 7 minutes?
That's because he changed the formation, didn't he? He went to a back three, pushed Thorne and Pav up a bit more, and then Arfield came more central because Arfield kind of play it wide and we seem to get at them. But to be honest with you, they kind of weren't that worried because we weren't going to score anyway because we were still putting balls into the box to Ruth, who was just constantly falling his arse. And not apart from goals since header, we didn't really have a chance, did we?
How horrific does that sound? He's just fucking nailed it. How horrific is that? Like, that is absolutely frightening.
I know.
Fuck me.
Goulston's header at the end. Scott, you expect him to do better?
Yeah. To be honest, I'm half thinking he can't believe he's actually got that header. And it's like taking him by surprise. And he's done the right thing, send it back across goal. But he had that much time and saw it coming all the way. You're expecting that to be a lot closer to the target, if not on target. He should be doing a lot better than that.
Okay. Well, listen, Mark, I'm going to come to you because I know you're a glass half full kind of guy. A 1-0 defeat away in a European competition quarter final. We're in the UEFA Cup / Europa League quarter final here the last 8. We get beat 1-0 away from home. Is that really? It's not a terrible result, is it?
No, not at all. No, I mean, it's actually a pretty good result away from home in a tie like this. I just don't see us. I don't see us turning it around. But I mean, if you'd have said to me 4 months ago, I'd have been like, yeah, we'll do them at home. But I don't see it. I just don't see it. I'm trying to be, but I think I've run out of optimism. I really have. I think that's the problem.
It's not like
you.
I was bringing you in to end the match reaction.
I've just seen a Gio quote. Just going back to the Ramsey thing. Yes, he was fit, but we have a big squad. The midfielders who played did well today. Come on.
Right, I'm going to go to Kurt. In the comments are there, right? Guys, let's ladies as well, let's speak about Gio. I think we'll speak about this a lot now, but folks, and Ken, I'm going to come to you. That comment that Scotty's read out, if accurate, Scotty, who's your source? Don't say the Daily Record.
I think it's Rangers website.
It's the Rangers Review.
Well, anyway. Oh, that was close. Kerr, Gio, what's your thoughts at this moment in time?
If you remember back, don't know how long ago, as I said to you, wasn't he man, didn't I? I just didn't think he was. I just didn't see why we went for him. I know Scotty said he was free, could have been, but we get stuck to him because it was Giovanni van Bronckhorst that played with Rangers and he played with Barcelona and played with Arsenal. It doesn't only make him a good manager, and I just still feel the same way. But he's no one to blame. You have to look at Ross Wilson. You have to look at the board. I think we've regressed a lot this season, but more since they've come in. We weren't great under Steven Gerrard, but we were still top of the league. But since Gio's come in, we've got worse. And it's sad to say, but we have got worse. But a big mentality for this team's a big issue. But I think the people in charge don't help.
And Mark, I want to come to you on the mentality thing because it's something was what I'd noted down. Probably, I'm going to say it. You know, this group of players, they've been around for 3 years. They have shat the bed a lot in a certain time of the year when the going got tough 2 or 3 years ago. Last season was a canter, so they didn't need to worry about it. So they were never put pressure on. Again, the turn of the year when the business end of their seasons came in, they've shat the bed again. And there's a massive swing of points here, regardless of what MD says. Gio needs to take the flak for that. The players also need to take the flak for that because we've seen how good a player they were when they weren't under pressure. Let's not even go back to the fact that folk were saying, oh, no fans. Listen, there's fans in now, these guys can't handle it. What's your thoughts on that? Like the mentality Kerr's talking about?
I think that I mean, I've been trying to hide for long enough. I think there is an issue with their mentality. And I think that what Kerr said as well is right. There has been a regression. But I think that whether Gio was there or whether Gerrard was there, I don't think it mattered.
I thought we were regressing when just as Gerrard was leaving. I thought we were going back to the players and going.
And I think that maybe Gerrard's seen that. And Gerrard's went like, do you know what? Aston Villa. But mentality-wise, I don't think this team have got it. I really don't. I think that we've got some smashing players. And I think that with the right mentality, they could be a right good side. A really good side. Because we've seen it. We've seen it in 15-minute bursts. We've seen it in the odd game. We've seen it in the odd half. But they're not able to sustain the that kind of mental strength. And I don't know. It's one of these things that they all say. Gerrard was a massive one for saying, "Oh, we've checked out his mentality. He was correct for coming to such a big club and blah blah blah." And they all say it when we sign a player. Oh, we checked it. We looked into his mentality and his character and all that. No, they didn't, because that's bullshit. This mob have shown that they've not got the guts and the heart and the fight for it. Time and time again, and I'm just calling a spade a spade. We don't want to hear it, and I didn't want to say it, but that's what's happening. Because at the end of the day, that game on Sunday, all they had to do was get their sleeves rolled up and get told right in about them. We done it for 5 minutes, and then they scored, and we shat the bed. Mentally, we shat the bed. Tonight, we were almost as if it was fucking coasting at times. And we see if we step it up, you can tell it's like watching two different sides. The last 10 minutes tonight, we stepped it up. A bit of concentration, a bit of mentality. And we look like a different team. It's proper Jekyll and Hyde. And to be perfectly honest, it's done my nut right in. Absolutely done. I can't hide behind it anymore and try not to say it. I'm just saying it. They've not got the mentality for it. One or two of them possibly, but the collective, no, not at all. And it's a problem.
Scotty, where does that stem from? If it's Gio's just in, because I said this at the weekend. One thing we need to remember is Gio's in the job less than the other side's manager in Glasgow. So where does this stem from? Is this players who have been here too long? They need a fresh challenge? Does it stem from them winning and reaching their Everest, like Wolf will tell us? Is it a fact that Gerrard wanted to freshen up the squad, knew that it needed that happening, and was telling no, really? And that's what it is. Kerr told us that at the start. He said, we need to buy players, and we never done it. We sat in our hands when we thought our players would be fine.
I think there's an element to requiring fresh blood, fresh impetus, and you don't need to get players in. Oh, they've won 10 trophies, therefore they're a natural winner. No, it's something that's in your core. The desire and hunger. And when you've got players, a few players, don't need all of them, a few players like that in your squad, it rubs on off the others. And you want these guys to be your leaders. You want these guys to be in the middle of the park or be the most vocal, the natural winners. I don't think we've actually got an element of that, and they're learning their way. That said, if we go and beat Braga 2-0 and then beat them in the semi-final, are we still saying that they're serial bottlers or the whatever? No, we don't know. We seriously don't know at this point. Yes, okay, well, the league form's fallen off a cliff, but there are other factors with that. I don't believe for 1 second that that's a bottle mentality thing. I think if you look back on Sunday,
is it stagnated as a word? Then is that?
I think it is, and I think that does really stem from not bringing in fresh players in key positions as well. So we desperately need freshening up. We desperately need to try something different. We desperately need to move away from this 4-3-3, and we've seen it in glimpses when we moved to the 3-5-2. We look like a completely different team. The players actually play with a lot more cohesion. They work as a unit with a lot more cohesion. So I would actually like to see that actually try something different going forward. And let's not forget, no team is going to cope well, particularly in the first couple of games, without their talisman, without their main man, without their focal point up top. And that plays a huge factor in whatever we do for the remainder of the season. Whether that's Real Madrid without Benzema or I don't really know anyone else in any other teams. I don't really watch any other football, but you get the point.
I would have used that analogy as well. I agree with you, but I thought our rivals would have had that problem, and they haven't, because they've brought another guy in who's just started scoring goals. We've not been able to do that. Kerr, let me bring you in. Why have we not been able? We cannot keep. As soon as Morelos isn't playing, by the way, there's been other games Morelos has been playing and he's been terrible as well.
Yeah,
but in the whole, as soon as Morelos doesn't play, we have no other plan to replace that or change it or do anything. Fans are crying out for 3-5-2. Get Kane in about Roof. Get Kane in about Sakala. Kerr, you said fucking put Ramsey as a false nine and get Kane in about him.
Yeah.
We just play the same formation, but we just put Sakala or Roof in. Doesn't work. We've tried that and doesn't work. But we play the same way. Arfield, Kent out left, the same way.
It works with Alfie because Alfie's good at it, what he does. He's aggressive, he presses, he can put up front of himself. That's what he's always kind of done, and you can see the way he's playing, he's getting better, and they probably want to be here for much longer. But when you've got somebody else up there, we're not really getting our striker, have we? To be honest with you, in the books. We like the 4 left because he was getting too old. Atton's not good enough, Sakala's not good enough. Roof's hit and miss. I mean, for a club at Rangers, we should have somebody else coming through. Should maybe give one of the young guys a chance for the academy? Maybe. But when you're playing somebody else up there apart from Alfie, you've got to change your formation. And like Scotty said, and we know ourselves, when we went at 3-5-2, it does look better. Because the players know when you're sticking to the same formation, you're playing balls for the back up to somebody that's no Alfie, it's going to come straight back. So I don't know why I don't change it ourselves on the part, but that probably comes for leadership, or maybe if they change it in the party, I think they're going to get a bollocking, who knows. But we can't keep playing the same way when Alfie's now. We have to change it because, and plus people know how we play as well, but when Alfie's up there, he can get away with it because he can bully players and stuff and players round about him. It doesn't work when he's not there. So we have to change formation, but we need to invest money, and that's the problem. We've not got any money. I don't care what anybody says. We've got a bit of money, but we've not got much, because that's the reason Ross Wilson's here. He's a businessman who balances the books.
Aye. But see, I was thinking about this earlier as well. See, when you're doing your job and you've got a manager who's probably not as good as your previous manager, he doesn't articulate instructions as well, and then you're trying to do your job with your colleagues and as a unit work together, but it doesn't quite work as well. Yeah. And then you get a little bit disheartened. I really get the impression that there's a lot of miscommunication going on. The players aren't really understanding what's supposed to be happening. They're playing in this 4-3-3, which they've played for the past 3-4 years, and they've refined it to a T. And we can hark back to 2 years ago when we played Braga the last time, and we've seen it all over Twitter. If you're on social media, you'll see it. You'll see the stills of how the team as a unit moved across the pitch without the ball. And it was fantastic to watch. Yeah. I really enjoyed us watching without the ball as I did with the ball. We were a great team to watch. Tonight, completely frantic, all over the place. They came forward. We had our defenders, our backline moving one way, our midfield moving the other way. And we're thinking, what's going on? Where has this actually come from? And we know the guys can actually play together and play it because we've seen it, we've done it, but they're not anymore. And I think they're losing heart. They're losing. I don't want to say desire and hunger, but they're lacking something.
Scotty, do you think they've lost? Do you think Gio's? I'm not saying it's quite early to say it, but do you think he's lost the dressing room anyway? I think that's too early to say that.
I think it's too early to say that. I think he will. Yeah. Unless something happens, he will for sure, because they're all going to come together. We're all going to go, well, this is pish. We're better than this. We know we're better than this, but we haven't got a fucking clue what he's on about.
Well, see, what he's trying to do. He's got to, if we believe it's true, for what we hear, if Van Bronckhorst has come in and said, right, I'm going to be the manager here, I'm going to tell you what's what, he's a bit more understated than that, and he said, Davis, you are knowing my plans. Kamara, you're there, but you know my plans to start. You can probably leave. And that's going to hurt a dressing room, especially a Rangers one. I'm going to bring you in, Mark, again. Especially a Rangers one where we went through the whole Glenn Kamara thing, and I'm assuming that everybody loves Glenn now. He hasn't been playing well, but he went through that whole racism thing, and then he's probably been having to try and get Gerrard took him out and almost recognised that a little bit. And then the new manager's come in and said, nah, I'm not fancying you. And his confidence just went. The dressing room are a bit like, oh, he was one of our main men. We all love him. That's going to make a lot of people. It's like your mate going like that. I don't like him if you don't like my mate, kind of thing.
It happens, but I think we're making some big assumptions here. Do you know what I mean? We're speculating. I think that
this is why we're a podcast.
No, I understand that, but I mean, you can't go like that to me that Gio doesn't know what he's talking about formation wise and stuff like that. The boy's played for Barcelona, played for Arsenal. He's won European
Cup. Doesn't make him a good manager or a coach?
But he knows. I mean, it doesn't take a blind man in a bus stop to see that he's going to know about formation.
Gaz is a good manager, a good coach.
No, but what I'm saying is the boys won trophies as a manager. Do you know what I mean? You can't take that away from him.
Let's find the board at Ajax and field at Palace.
But what I'm saying is the boy obviously knows about formations, but as I said, we're speculating here. For me, I can get exactly what you're all saying about it. I really do understand that, but I think that you need to get. He's your manager. You need to get behind him. It's not his team. It's Steven Gerrard's team. Simple as that. You need to let him bring in players. Talking about the stagnating thing in the team. See, in the summer, we should have brought in 2 quality signings. We should have brought our levels there. We should have brought 2 signings that were there. We should have spent the money and we should have brought them in, because that would have kicked us on, and it would have took all the players to a different level that were there already. And we never done it.
For the money by all accounts, but was told there's no money unless you sell. But didn't really sell anybody.
So. Boy Veerman, case in point, Boy Veerman, class, absolute class, and he's flying. He's went to PSV and he's flying. We should have brought a bank for that boy, because it's exactly what we needed. A central midfielder that scores goals, takes shots, can pass the ball, can create off the centre midfield, box to box. Exactly what we needed. And we all said it. We've all said it for bloody 3 years. That we need a box-to-box midfielder that can score goals, can defend and can create. And that's why you pay the big bucks for these players. So, I get, as I said, I'm trying to get a wee bit more positive here. And you're going to need to give him a chance. I don't think, I can see what's going to happen. Because if we get popped out of Europe and then we get bet off for them in a semi.
Yeah. Beating Sunday.
There's no really anywhere you can go. You can't have a manager that's lost 4 times to Celtic and been popped out of Europe, and I understand that.
It's Europe. A Europe thing doesn't bother me. It's
I know, but I think that he deserves at least another 6 months. I think.
Listen, right. Mark's had his say.
I think he'll get it as well, Mark.
I think he will.
Okay, let me jump in because we done the podcast with, and I want to just bring up Stuart's comment here because it's quite. I reflect on that, right? So we done a podcast with Scotty, you as well. And we fought tooth and nail. I approached all these Feyenoord fans, and we got a few options. We got a couple of boys on, we got a couple of boys on, right? And many of you would have seen it. And we had a podcast with them, and it was flat as anything. We were expecting these boys to come on and be like, Van Bronckhorst brought us our first league title in 10 years. Whoa, amazing! And these boys were a bit like, and I was a bit like, why are they so understated? And Kerr had said after that, like, they'd seen a lot of stuff where they never liked the way he played. Eventually, they were actually happy that he get sacked eventually, even though he brought home their league title after all these years. So
not just that, but they turned around and said he was their most successful manager ever.
Yeah.
And that was one hell of a... No, absolutely not. I thought it was really bizarre as well.
And they did not like his style of playing. Kerr, you'd read about the horseshoe, pass at the back, just going back and forth. So, listen, Mark, I know what you're saying. I want that to be the case. I just feel that I will struggle to watch this team play the same way. Let's get rid of 10 players, bring in 10 new players. If Gio wants to adopt that style of play and pass it at the back, and if you've got throwing it at the corner of your defending teams. So Celtic the other day would have thrown it at the corner within 2 passes. It was Vernier back at McGregor. I don't want to see that.
I think the point is as well is, well, 2 things. If we allow him a summer and get his team, what the fuck does his team look like? Because with this team, the league winners, doesn't look like a fucking team. And if you can't work with that, well, what is he going to be able to work with? 11 new players? No, I don't get it. If you can see the writings on the wall, and potentially it might be, unless something happens, beat Braga, win the semi-final, the team go on a run. But if we limp to the end of the season by losing at Ibrox on Thursday, losing the semi-final, and then winning maybe a couple more games, are you really going to trust that man with a rebuild? Are you really going to trust him? If we're bringing in, we're selling Morelos, Aribo, Kamara, and then we're bringing in replacements. Are you really going to trust him to do that? Are you really going to trust Ross Wilson to be able to spend the funds and bring in the players, considering that we were crying out for another centre forward, but he chose to bring back Cedric Itten and then spend all that money on Aaron Ramsey, who hasn't yet got going and the league's finished, to bring in Diallo as a marquee, but he can't get a game because he's not suited to Scottish football. Are you really going to trust Ross Wilson to then spend what is going to be a substantial chunk of money? Because we could potentially regress right back to where we were after Pedro. All that money was spent on him, his backroom team, and Carlos Pena and Eduardo Herrera. And then we're back to square one. And then we're taking Gerrard-esque gambles and punts again on youth team coaches and hoping that they turn good. Do we really want to do that?
Kerr, are we overreacting?
Probably are, but we've got points that we overact. We've got the way we're feeling about the way we've been playing recently. So we're going to maybe overreact at times. But
can I just stop, right? Please, Kerr, I'm so caught. Sorry, Kerr. Folk keep saying that Ryan Jack to be the manager in the comments, right? And folk are saying, no, Ryan Jack's a great player, but he's not a manager. Listen, let's stop that. That's a carry on, right? Sorry, Kerr.
I don't think he will be sacked. I don't think the board will push him because Ross Wilson...
Is that because we can't afford it, Kerr?
Aye.
Probably. And also Ross Wilson appointed him, so if Gio goes, does he have to go?
Is Ross Wilson stubborn, Kerr?
Very. But he's got a good track record at other clubs, but it doesn't mean he's the right man for us. And I don't know. I don't think we'll sack him just because he's got 3.5. Is it a 3.5 year contract he signed?
Who, Ross Wilson or Gio?
Gio.
this is the thing for me. I don't understand why you bring a new manager in when someone wants to leave and you're 6 points clear. That contract should say, Mr. Manager, want to come on board? You get a 3-year deal. Caveat, at the end of the first season, if you fucking flip that 6 points round the wrong way, then we'll just end it there. If we have not built that in, then shame on the board.
To me, the manager doesn't have to be an ex-Ranger either. It can be somebody totally out the box. I'm not a fan of, he's an ex-Ranger, so he'll do it for us. That doesn't bother me. As long as he knows about football and can get his results. That's what I worry about, not being an ex-Ranger.
Mark, Ewan's put a comment in. We've not heard this one. Something that I've heard a couple of people say in our group chat, where they're able to say, do you know what? Everything that's happening now, and if the season escalates to the place it's going to escalate to, perhaps, you maybe don't want to risk Lowry's confidence, McCann, maybe don't want to put these boys in there because it could ruin them. For me, I think Alex Lowry is the type of player who, it doesn't matter. You could say it to him, he's like a Fernandez. Yeah, I'm not going to call him Fernandez, but that type of mentality where it doesn't matter what you say to him and do him, he'll lose the ball. Willie's told us he'll lose the ball a million times and he will still try and do something the next time he gets the ball. See his penalty for Scotland, runs up, does a wee Jorginho thing, taps it in. Why are we not? I know he's injured, I think, isn't he? But why would we not be playing the young boys now? St Mirren Sunday.
For me, the league's gone, so I would be putting young boys in. Simple as that. For me, the league's done. So use it to blood, young boys. I think that you're not going to have the kind of funds that we would all like in the summer. So why no blood, Lowry? Why not try and build a team round about some of these young boys? All right, bring a few older heads in, but what have we got to lose? We've nothing to lose. We're playing like a bag of shit in a minute. So, I mean, some of these young boys at least they're going to give you heart and desire. I would play them. It's for me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, even like the boy Weston, I know that everybody's he's too young and he's too. At least get him on the bench. Do you know what I mean? At least let him see what it's like on a Saturday at Ibrox. Get him, show him just enough to make him hungry.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
For me, that's what you need to do now because the league's away. So I would use it to try and figure out what the fuck it is we're going to do next season. I think that's your only bet, and if you don't, then fucking shame on him.
Okay, I think a lot of folk are saying that the league's gone, right? See if Van Bronckhorst came out after a Celtic game and said, "That's the league done, folks." We'd all be going for heed. So we need to keep going to the end, and is maybe that what he's saying by maybe he's saying what other folks are saying, like not bringing the youngsters in now. We need to really go. You never know what could happen, but you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, aren't you?
Only thing with bringing the youngsters, I would bring the young boys in. There's no any reason why you can't. But the only thing with that, if they go into this system, they might not know where they're playing either.
A good comment there, by Wee Magoo. If you don't blood youth, you lose them, right? And young Coombs, from what we heard, get let go because he had a bit of a bad attitude apparently. But I think the boys scored about 30 odd goals in that Brentford B team. And they're talking about Crystal Palace, West Ham. They're all going to go for him. And Rangers might even get a wee bit of money. In fact, I don't know if there's been a.
It's like the boy Rory Wilson, isn't it? He's not saying a new deal with us yet. There's a few teams sniffing about him.
Who's that? Alex Lowry?
No, Rory Wilson.
Oh, the under 8. Yeah.
16-year-old striker, right? So do we give him a chance and say, listen, say a new deal and you'll be near the first team soon, or does he go and get lost in the youth system like Man United at Liverpool or something? You just obviously you'll end up being the main breadwinner in his family, right enough, if he goes down there. But the only thing is we can't afford to give young players the money English team give them, because we need to basically keep that money to give first team players, because we've just not got the finance to give the young guys it.
I want to end it on probably just on a positive note. Alex Lowry, he's a shining hope. He's a shining light probably in the whole thing for what we've seen. An absolute gem of a player. I'll try to end that on a positive note, but if he doesn't start to get time, is there going to be questions around his contracts? I might be wrong, but I think it's not up at the end of the season, then maybe the season after. Scotty, talk to me.
He'll still be here after Gio's gone.
Do you think so?
Fuck yeah.
Teams have seen that. Surely there's somebody out there going like, look at the performance. A youth contract or whatever it is.
He'll be played for Rangers. could only be for a year, but he'll still be here longer than Gio if things continue. Because that's really annoyed me. Why would you not play Lowry? Why would you not? The league's done. It's a perfect opportunity, unless he's seen something in his current pool of players, bearing in mind that he did some of the comments that he says in press conferences, does lead me to believe. But remember, Gio is just a guy. Gio is just a guy, just like you, Care, just like you, JD, just like you, Mark. And he has a pair of eyes, just like the four of us. But we all come to the same conclusion, but Gio doesn't. And we all see on a match day, we all see these guys perform, and we all see what these guys can do. Lowry has come on and he's played, and he's shown bits of magic, which, quite frankly, puts some of these senior pros to shame, and he won't use him.
Can I just say, folks, we know Alex Lowry's injured. We know he's injured. Yeah. We're just talking about it in a generalised term. Even leading up to his injury, he played brilliant and was never seen again. We're just trying to talk about some sort of shining light in the future here.
Yeah, I'm not talking about bringing in like the entire youth team like Weston, because I think Weston, part of his game, does seem to be an absolutely tremendous finisher, but the rest of his game, I don't think it's there at all. And we've seen like loads of these finishers come through the youth system, and they go on to have like low league England football careers. That's where they belong. Charlie McCann looks a great player, but again, not quite there just yet. Maybe we'll see him. Lowry's different. King, again, put in the same bracket as Charlie McCann. So we're not saying bring in the youth players and play 4 youth players, but you've got to at least, always talk about that pathway. Put that back up.
We need to bloody.
He's going to want to get back in, isn't he?
Yeah. Anyway, I think we'll end it there. Yeah, we will. Okay. Listen, thank you so much. There's been a lot of people watching tonight. 1-0 Braga. We go next Thursday, and we're still in it. We've got a small hurdle of Kerr's first team right now. Paisley Sunday, Kerr, isn't it?
I'm not going to be there in Manchester weekend, so.
You're not going to the game? Kerr, at the end of doesn't watch Best of the Rest. The Buddies is Kerr's.
That's actually my dad's team.
Second love.
My dad's a Scotland fan, my mum's a Rangers fan.
Like Kerr likes to always explain himself when I say this, but
that's a good point. Because you like United, don't you?
I found a picture in an old WhatsApp thing about me. I'll send it to you, Kerr, right? Anyway,
your Hamish McAlpine jersey.
Yeah,
send it to us all. Don't just keep it for Kerr, otherwise he's just going to pop it in the group chat anyway. He'll just pop it in the group chat.
I'll send it to you, Scotty.
Nice one. Mate, it was Hamish McAlpine. Anyway, want to thank everybody. Baby, listen, I've only ever supported Glasgow Rangers. We'll have a laugh about this. Mark, thank you.
Mark's getting back to his bed.
Yeah.
You're right.
Wake up in the morning in a better attitude.
Up at 5.
Because he's known this. Oh.
No, like you, Mark. We want you more positive going forward, mate.
On last and Sunday, I just can't shake it. I'm
the same. I tried to get Martin to jump in and host this, and he was saying he was whining and dining. So I had to deal in for him or stay in. Kerr, thank you. I appreciate that, man. That was good. We did get beat, but Scotty, we're still in, didn't we? We're still in. We're still involved.
Do you know what? If they've got away with murder, and if they don't take advantage of this, well, we don't deserve to be in Europe. So
one thing I think as well, that's a young Braga team, and we gave them plaudits. I was thinking, we should be doing that. There's a couple of young Portuguese boys in there that love this sun. They love this shine, and they'll beat their stadium and their fans. Just wait till we get to Ibrox next week, pissing down with rain, 50-odd thousand. So we'll see what happens next week. We'll see you all on Friday night, I think, for a St Mirren preview, and then we'll see you on Sunday afternoon. I will not, because I'm going on holiday. For a wee week.
You got a Dundee game.
Up to Avimo for a few days.
You got to scheme these two mates.
Exactly.